which is
I've done that before.
it's not ideal, but
it's devastating.
It's like, no. Wow. First of all, Kylie, thank you for joining me. It's this one's been a little while coming,
Been a little while coming, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm super excited for those that are on the call, and we will have some other people joining us as we progress. I'll admit them to the group. Look, I probably first met you. I was just thinking about this before, probably through Taki Moore's Black Belt group.
Yeah.
I would say maybe 2017 or 2018, maybe.
2017, 2018, yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah.
And
where are we in now?
Yeah, it's been a little bit like that.
Who even knows?
So yeah, and even back then, super impressed with your work and the things that you were doing. I think for a time you were on the executive board for the Australian NLP or Australian Board of NLP.
Yeah, I was the vice chair for a while.
Wow. But look, more than all the modalities, because you've studied like the best of the best and all of them. Really, you're a magical person. Like, and there's no easy way to sort of say it. But so for those that are listening, sometimes I don't know where this is going to go. We're probably going to talk about a bunch of things, but maybe we'll talk about modalities. But one of the key insights that I've seen, and I've watched your work, and I know the caliber of people that you also work with, you really do bring something magical, and at the very least, just acknowledging that right at the beginning, and honoring that, like it's really something special that you're doing. So again, welcome to the show, and I'm looking forward to this conversation.
Yeah, me too. Magic and modalities and mastery and all the things.
All of the things. So look, just while we're on that, the journey, you've gone through a lot of different trainings and different processes. The first sort of question, I guess, would be, look, how did you get into coaching? Because you've been coaching like probably close to 20 years now, I would say.
Nearly 20 years. I'm 18. Yeah, 18 and a half years now. So a solid stint in the coaching ring. So I found kind of coaching found me, I guess. And I've always been, like many people say, I guess, that come into coaching, I've always been that type of person that people would tell their life story to. I'd be at a restaurant and suddenly the waiter, it'd be a quiet night at the restaurant, and suddenly the waiter would be like pouring his wine and telling me his life story. And I've always kind of been that type of person. And so then when I was about 23, my singing teacher at the time discovered NLP, and I was her first kind of guinea pig client, and then her first student, and she went on to be quite a figure in the NLP scene in Australia. Alice Hemmerley, who is one of my kind of dear friends and has been a mentor for a very long time. So she was my entry point into NLP, and that really shifted a whole bunch of things for me. Like I wrote a post about it recently. When NLP found me, I was 30 kilos overweight. I was taking a lot of drugs. I was sleeping around. I was like, lining up speed in the morning, washing it down with some painkillers and a beer, and then smoking weed to go to sleep at night, and drinking heaps of, like, just medicating my way through the day basically. And not happy, really. I was the party girl, that type of thing, in your 20s. And well, people in their 20s these days probably aren't doing some of those things, but yeah, definitely it was very much a product of, I guess, my own perfectionism. And I was a super hard worker through school, and I kind of always knew I had a bit of an addictive personality. And so I was one of those kids that, even though all my friends were partying when I was studying my HSC, I was like, no, no, I'm not going to do that. No. And I had a super strict dad. I held off until I finished my HSC. And then once I finished my HSC, it was like all bets are off. I am all in on partying basically. And I just got everything I could get my hands on. And you know, it's a cautionary tale, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't, you know, drugs are bad, kids, okay, but but you know, there's lots of good memories that I have from that time. And so yeah, it was definitely a bit of a coping mechanism. And then NLP was really the gateway that allowed me to exit that party land reality, overweight, drinking, in debt, sleeping around kind of thing, and start to really forward focus my life, and I guess see that there was a better future for myself. And so in the couple of years since I first had that first session with Alice, I lost 30 kilos. I paid off my credit card. I, you know, started singing professionally. I did my NLP practitioner. It was like a couple of years that was like what I call my rocket years. And so I just did a whole bunch of things and really just shot up to a whole new reality. And then that kind of kicked off a whole bunch of things for me. And I've been, you know, rocketing on, I guess, ever since, and just continuing on that journey. So it really started that love of personal growth and opened my eyes to change and the magic of change. And so then I kind of collected, you know, like some people collect other things, I collected modalities and certifications and learning, and have kind of woven them together into a kind of relatively unique way of helping people. So,
well, you're very modest. You certainly have an incredible way of bringing the best of the systems from what work that I've seen you doing, the best of a wide range of modalities, really just to help people bring out their, you know, their best in the situation. Just speak into that for a second, like this idea of, I think you've written about this before, magic versus modality. Like what's sort of your take on what you would call magic, and where does modality sit within that?
I love that. So I've been on kind of both sides of this coin, and you know, like we sit in the different swings of polarity and kind of find the wisdom in the center. You know, I've been, as a coach trainer and an NLP trainer, I have been quite in the past self-righteous about, I think everybody should be NLP trained and you should need to get your modality, or you need to have some kind of training. If it's not NLP, it should be something. And have been kind of in that more dogmatic place of like everybody has to be trained.
Yeah.
And then I guess I've softened in, you know, hanging out with some of our colleagues and friends in the more strategic coaching world that don't have maybe any coach training, but have read a lot of books and have had a lot of personal growth and have a lot of kind of strategic business or fitness or whatever it is, success. And then they become coaches around helping someone with, you know, achieving an outcome. So I guess the balance point between magic and modality, because you might say, oh, someone's got this kind of intuitive healing magic or this kind of way about them, they just know what's the right thing to say, or they have this particular aura or energy that makes people feel safe or comfortable or seen, or you know, that what their experience is going through becomes normalized in some way. And that's definitely an individual magic. You know, we talk about magnetism as well, and that magic is something that is innate, and I like to think of it as soul gifts. And I've been studying more recently the method around the gene keys work, and I found that to be a really beautiful pointer to help people to start to uncover and unpack their unique genius and their kind of soul gifts. So that's one piece, is like when I was reflecting on it, like, oh, some people really do seem to just know what they're doing when they come in. You know, maybe it's past lives, maybe it's some kind of innate gift that they have, who knows. And so I've kind of softened in that self-righteousness and realized in a little bit more maturity, like, oh, who am I to stop someone from feeling good about helping them get their gifts out to the world in whatever way feels right for them? So that's one aspect of it. The other part is kind of coming back into that center, is noticing and realizing how people who have a lot of strategic or intuitive magic, or just their kind of natural way of being, that they can make their life so much easier when they have systems, processes, structures that are, building on the, standing on the shoulders of giants, of great therapists, great coaches who have come before us. And so I like to think of it in the way of the, yin yang, that the modality is the structure that helps contain and support and allow the magic to flow easily and effortlessly. So it's very much about a balance of both. I think some people can get really stuck in the modality and have to follow the scripts and think that the modality is the thing that does the work. And I guess when you get stuck in that kind of thinking, the danger is that then you forget your own uniqueness, and you think, oh, I'm just a NLP practitioner, I'm just a spiral or a Reiki or a Tantra or whatever your particular modality is. And you put the power in the modality. And so then you just become like any other person that is doing that modality. And so that can really lead to a lot of comparison, a lot of imposter syndrome, a lot of feeling like, well, what do I have to offer that's unique? And so the sweet spot that I found for people to really be powerful, potent leaders is to find the place where their unique life experience or skills or natural gifts or intuitive soul magic is supported by a structure or a system that naturally supports that work. And when we find the synthesis of those two, people become really unstoppable, because they realize that it's like, I recognize that I'm the perfect person to help my client. It's like my unique life experience or my situation has made me the perfect person to be talking to you right now about this, or to be helping you with this thing. And so I think that's a really magical sweet spot that helps people to really unlock their gifts, respect what's come before, and also bring something totally unique and that's totally their own into the marketplace to make a difference. So
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
And look, I imagine this would be a similar dynamic working with entrepreneurs. So I know you do a lot of work with 7, 8, 9-figure business owners, and there's a certain level of intuitiveness that I've seen working with a similar clientele, in the sense of they've been able to create instinctually a lot of success, or following a passion, or following a drive. But there is still a point where developing some other clarities or structures, or unblocking certain inner limitations, that also has a dramatic effect. Can you just maybe just speak into some of that kind of work, and how that sort of unblocking works for entrepreneurs that are in a leadership role as well?
Yes.
Bit of a leading question, but
it's okay. I don't mind being led where you want to lead.
Let's go there.
Let's go there. So some of this unblocking work, I find that a couple of years ago, I started really realizing, oh, I've got something to offer these guys that are making really great money, but with, I guess, after years of coaching and a little bit of intuitive magic that one is both born with and can develop over time, that I could see some aspects of incongruencies, or I kind of think of it like a throttled capacity to hold energy, and a throttled capacity for power. or a leaking power. So it's like there's the throttle, and then there's also like these leaks that can happen. And somewhat intuitively, I can kind of pick up on that just from how someone presents themselves, and I'm sure you can too. So so it's that piece of noticing, these people that have really great business success may not always have other aspects of their life dialed in, or, you know, might need some support in those ways. And, you know, I guess leading up to, you know, my own realization of being able to help people that are at that kind of really high level of success in business, I had to deal with all of my own stuff of, like I had to become totally congruent in my own power and my own center to be able to say, hey, I can help you. Yes, you may have more business success than me or business experience than me, but there's something that I can bring that is quite unique magic here. And so what I found is that entrepreneurs that have that kind of really, really, you know, impressive business success are often and can be driven by some kind of wound. I mean, we all have wounds. There's nothing to be ashamed of. But I find that people that have that kind of really dramatic or fast success, that there is that the success is almost some kind of scaffold for, or protection that helps bolster their way through life and prevents them from having to look at the particular wound. And maybe it's like unworthiness, or, you know, not good enough, or, you know, these kind of general things that when it plays out in an entrepreneur, it can drive a lot of success. And this is the interesting piece, because the wound can be a great driver. It's like, I'm not going to be in poverty like my parents were, or how I grew up, or I'm not going to, you know, abandon my kids, or I'm not going to do this or whatever. So there's the kind of away from motivation that can drive massive success when someone is like deeply driven by that. Like, I am going to make this different. I'm like, you know, that teacher that told me I was never amount to anything, like, fuck you, I'm going to be the most successful person in the world. So that's an interesting thing. And so people can have a huge amount of success, but what happens is that then once they reach a certain level of success, it's almost like riding a rocket up out into the atmosphere. And so there's this kind of thruster part, which is the pain, and then there's the like acceleration, like up through, and then you reach this level of altitude where you kind of break through the atmosphere, and suddenly now there's a lot more space, and maybe your team is taking care of a lot of things, so there's not actually that much on your calendar, even though you're making a lot of money. And so a lot of entrepreneurs at this kind of level find that, now I've got all this space. Now I'm not like running on adrenaline and achievement. Now I'm starting to think differently about life, or now I've got space to start to notice things that I didn't notice before. And entrepreneurs and kind of leaders can find that success can be a little bit hollow. It's like, I've got all this money, I've built this business, I've got this great team, I've got a great wife, I've got a great life. But like,
now what?
Now what? Is this it?
Yeah.
It's like, is that all there is? And that kind of can lead to a little bit of a, you know, one might call it a dark night of the soul, or a reevaluation of some kind, where now they get to open up to a new level, or there's the opportunity or the invitation to open up to a deeper and a new level of insight and achievement. And I remember joking with one of my clients once. I was like, hey, you've mastered the physical plane of existence. Yay, you. Now there's 4 more planes. Bam. Now let's work on your mental and emotional and spiritual and energetic. Let's go. And he was like, whoa, oh my God. So that's kind of where we come in, I guess, is that awareness of the awareness of kind of alignment and congruence, and how much energy you can hold in your body, how much relaxation you can, how much you can relax, how much you can stand in power. And so that very much has to do with our energetic anatomy. And so we start to, to lean on the wisdom of, many cultures around the world, the, Indian and Hindu culture, especially around the chakra system and the different power centers and the different levels, the Kabbalah, which is a big part of other mapping systems of the chakras. And so it's then about looking at, what are these different levels of the energetic anatomy, and where might I be stuck, and where might I be throttled, and how that might show up to kind of ground it and make it a bit more reality based is, that might show up in, if you have some kind of blockage, I guess, in your energetic anatomy, then that might show up as, issues with your team, or issues in your relationship, or a kind of invisible ceiling on your revenue, even though whatever that revenue might be, whether it's 1 million or 10 million or, whatever, that there can be this kind of, I can get up to here, but I kind of can't get past it.
There's a threshold.
It's the threshold of the next level. Or it might just be that kind of nagging sense of, am I even in the right business? Am I even doing, like, I've had this massive success, but now is this even who I am anymore? And so there can be this kind of hidden despondency, and most people can't see it because they're too busy putting these people on a pedestal and going, oh my God, you know everything, you've got money. So, and so that was the piece that I needed to work through as a coach and therapist, to be able to go, it doesn't, like, it, we're all equal. It doesn't matter. Some people are better in something, some people have mastery in this, and some people have mastery in that. And when I really just kind of leveled that within myself, it made it so much easier to just be able to relate to human, to people at all different levels of success and achievement. And there's this interesting loneliness that can happen the more kind of success you get, because of the way that people put you on a pedestal. So it's like, everyone's just a normal human, the queen still takes a dump in the morning, and that entrepreneur that you look up to occasionally yells at his kids and feels bad about it, or it's like, everyone's still human. We've all got families, we've all got lives, we've all got dreams, we've all got things that we hurt about, we've all got little inner children inside that want to be liked and want to be approved of and want to be included in the tribe. And so when we can work through that stuff, the inner work stuff, and start to open up. Okay, so how does that relate to the chakras? The chakras are the place where these particular wounds or limitations or stories, it's almost like the filing cabinet, as as you well know. So it's almost like, hey, let's look in this filing cabinet and see if what's in there is helping you, or if it's not. And if it's not, let's clear it out. And so then as you clear out each of the filing cabinets and kind of work through systematically, what we find is that it opens up someone's capacity to be in the flow of synchronicity and in the flow of life. And then things start to shift. Like, there can be quite dramatic shifts quite quickly. So, one of the entrepreneurs that I'm working with, as a kind of tangible result, we started working together, and he was at about $100,000 a month in revenue, and incredible business owner, right? Has all the strategies, does all the things, has the team, but was at that threshold. So we worked through a bunch of stuff and some clearing, and now he's at $750,000 a month. So it's as kind of an average recurring. So it's huge. The return on investment can be beyond even what you would think is possible. So it's really exciting, because once we start to open up to these different levels, magic can happen. And when you're just working on the physical plane with physical stuff, there's certain laws and rules that physical plane has to abide by. But when we work with energy and spirit and, you know, the etheric realms, then we can start to bring in this kind of quantum change, I guess, that can almost line things up in magical ways. Like people will go, oh, you'll never believe it, this person reached out to me, or I've just had this amazing thing happen. You know, someone that I was working with that you know, was in an unhappy marriage with someone that wasn't really suited to him. And so, you know, there was obviously emotion and turmoil and challenge with that. But once we were able to kind of work through those things, 6 months later, with an incredible lady that is a great match for him. And, you know, it's that kind of thing, that sometimes there is the breakdown or the transitional period, and then it's like, just stay the course, it's okay. Like, take some deep breaths, we're going to be fine. And I kind of feel like that's what we're going through as a planet right now. It's like we're going through the breakdown, or the cocoon, or the transition point. And so a lot of people are being squeezed, and I guess forced to look at some of the things that maybe, you know, they wouldn't look at otherwise. So
yeah,
does that answer your question?
Yeah. Oh, it's beautiful response. And there's some other avenues we'll see if I can loop back to them, but there's definitely an awakening in the average person's awareness that there is some kind of collective awareness that we are shifting through at the moment, and that shift, that transition is going to involves a breakdown of, you know, previous systems, and that is a metaphor in itself. You know, it happens within us individually when we go through these, you know, breakdowns. But rock bottom can end up being the foundation that we, you know, go to new heights with. And I can see that happening at an individual level, and absolutely at the moment at a collective level.
Totally. Yeah. It's like there is no better bedrock than rock bottom.
Well, I think you end up with, and I've had in my own life, I've had several rock bottoms where I just, you know, like just gutted. Yeah. And you end up with, when you put yourself back together, you end up, you know, you've got some scars, but at the same time, you end up, in my experience, you definitely end up stronger for the experience. For sure. And, you know, obviously everybody's different, but my hope for our society and our planet is that we can get through this next phase, because it's an interesting time that we're in.
It is an interesting time.
Yeah. So this idea of you know, working with entrepreneurs and working on those different levels, I've often used the description, and I know this is something you've referred to as well, how your business is an extension of your energy system, or your business is an extension of your nervous system. I know you've already addressed a little bit of that, but maybe just speak into that dynamic, and again, what either, because there's some coaches on the line here and also some entrepreneurs on the line and people watching the replay. What can we do to increase our capacity as entrepreneurs, and how can we also facilitate that as coaches?
Yeah, amazing. Okay, so a lot of it's interesting, like for many years I worked in coaching at the mental emotional level, I guess, mindset coaching. And it's interesting, the more that I've developed, I guess, these other skills, and, you know, I kind of grew up with some intuitive gifts that came through that made me think I was crazy as a kid.
You're downplaying those, by the way, but you're very modest. But
so anyway, so we were kind of working at the mind emotion level, and then when I really kind of brought in this spiritual energetic level as, you know, if I kind of think, and obviously they're all interrelated, nothing is above anything else, but just for the sake of maps and models in 2D plane, you know, if you think mind and emotions here, and then kind of spirit and energy here, and nervous system kind of down here, it's like if the mind and emotions is this middle bit that most coaches play at, mind and emotions and like tangible strategies. The spiritual and energetic is like the container of the quantum field around it, and the nervous system is our way of grounding all of those things into reality, and as you well know. And so the more that we can work with how safe does this nervous system feel in this moment, and can this nervous system, can this body cultivate the feeling of safety more often, you know, more profoundly. And the more that we feel safe, the more that our bodies let go of tension, the more that we can respond basically, rather than respond, rather than react. And the more that we can make conscious, intentional decisions. So when our nervous system feels under pressure or under stress, then it's more likely to react. It's more likely to go into sympathetic dominance overload. And then we have stress hormones running through our body. And we think that when we're under pressure and feel that nervous system stress, we tend to look at things through the lens of, is this a threat to me? And so then there's this kind of win-lose dynamic that kind of underplays things when your nervous system is feeling stressed. Like, are they trying to take something from me? Are they trying to put me down? Or are they trying to impinge on me some way? Or is this a battle? And so there's this kind of competitive energy that runs through it, and you feel like kind of you're under threat and you're ready to fight. And so when we just, I do this a lot. Anyone who spends a lot of time with me is like, oh, I picked up those big sighs that you do. When we do those big sighs, it's so simple. It's so, you know, you don't need to count it. You don't need to do any fancy things. We all know how to sigh. And so just taking that, that kind of breath that drops our jaw and drops our shoulders and allows our eyes to relax. It's reminding your nervous system that it's safe in this moment. And when you do that, when you drop into that sense of like, oh, okay, I'm here in this body, it brings you back, it brings your consciousness and your intention back into your body, switches on your parasympathetic nervous system and allows your brain to think more clearly, and your prefrontal cortex to switch on and work as it's supposed to. And you start to be like, oh, whew, okay, so now nothing else has changed externally. The world hasn't changed at all, but because I've taken the time to take a breath, now I can relate to the world in a more relaxed state. And you know yourself, you know, when you go to speak to someone and you're like heightened and thinking that they're trying to like get one over on you, or that they've, you know, said something nasty about you, or you've imagined something in your mind, or visualize some argument that you're going to have, or how you were going to like that, the conversations don't usually go that well, and you don't usually get the best outcomes. And whether that's with your wife or your husband or your kids or your team members or your clients, reactive decisions cost you money. They cost you money. And responsive, relaxed, calm decisions make you money, save relationships, and build relationships. And so, you know, if you think of your business as the way that you interact with the world, you know, the videos that we do, the emails that we send, the products that we make, they're your way of sending your intention or your ideas out into the world. And then the response that you get, whether it's the money that you receive or the testimonials that you get or the complaints that you get are how you receive data back from the world. You know, how many likes or shares or follows, or whether your thing goes viral or not, or whether your business is making money or not. That's how you receive some information from the world. And so our nervous system is really, it's our way of interacting with the world. And so that's the kind of link of our business system is an extension of the nervous system, just from the sense of, in a purely logical sense of my five senses, my sight and, you know, smell and taste and sound and, you know, all of the senses. Our business system is a way of giving and receiving information as well. And so then the places that we tend to be kind of bit jammed up or a bit throttled or a bit leaky in our energy,
yeah,
tend to then get amplified throughout our business. And so if you're the type of person that feels weird about asking for money, then that's going to be amplified through your sales systems, and there'll be, you know, weird breaks in your sales funnel, and you'll have maybe a lot of people will like you, but not many people will buy from you. Or, you know, if you feel like, what's another one? If you just love to give, but you struggle to receive, that could be another one that can amplify through your business. The other piece is, you know, if you're really focused on business, but then, you know, maybe have some kind of issues around heart or issues around really dropping into your emotions and your vulnerability, you might be really great at sales and great at making money and have a super successful business financially, but you might struggle with team and keeping team happy, and, you know, keeping the A players that support your clients. And so if you can't then have a great team, then you're going to struggle with churn with your clients as well, because then they won't feel like they can fully be themselves. So a lot of really success driven businesses that I see often have this kind of struggle point with vulnerability, that people are like, well, I'm keeping up and while I'm successful, it's cool, I'm happy to be in here. But the minute that I'm struggling, or I have something that doesn't quite fit the boxes or the frameworks, I don't know where to go. And suddenly I feel overwhelmed and left behind. And so I'll just exit, rather than, because there's no space for my emotions here. So if the leader doesn't have space for their emotions inside and they get all weird about emotions, then there'll be no space for emotions in the business. And so there might be finances, but then there'll be leaks of team or clients. And so then there's constantly this sales engine going, but there's all this leak out the back. And, you know, interestingly, one of the business coaches that I was watching the other day, a dear friend of mine who I actually got to know quite well in a breathwork training that we did together, Dr. David Dugan, who's an incredible business coach, he said the other day, imagine where your business would be if you still had every single client that you've ever sold or you've ever had. Like, where would your business be now if you retained every single client that you've ever had? I was like, whoa, that's a mind-blowing question. And so having this synthesis and this symbiosis and this integration of, you know, the emotional or the softer skills and the, you know, the tangible, practical, financial, masculine kind of skills of hunting and getting the leads and bringing them in and selling them, and then, hey, we can nurture them and look after them and nurture our team. It's like the masculine and feminine. So when they're working in harmony, then you get to both get the clients and keep the team, and everybody grows and is happy together. Yay. so that's that kind of speaks to the nervous system, business system piece. Yeah, there was another part to that question, but I just wanted to
for there's some coaches on the line or those watching the replay. How you know, what are the sort of telltale signs in working with the client? How do you reveal these things? Do you have a process for that? Obviously, you don't have to disclose any specific secret,
insider secrets. Oh, I'm happy to, because it's like, even if I said one of the things, it's like the years that it takes to embody and master it is a whole different thing. So yeah, like, how would you know? I always look for how centered and grounded is this person. I just relate. I kind of, and you can feel it on an energetic level when you just talk to someone. It's like, is this person actually in their body, or are they all like, oh, like I'm going here and there, like all this kind of scattered kind of craziness? Or, you know, is there an over? I look for where people are out of a kind of too much or not enough. And so I'm kind of constantly looking for, I'm tracking for pendulums in people. And that's one of the biggest kind of telltale signs. If someone's in a pendulum of drama, what do I mean by pendulum of drama? What do I mean by pendulum of drama? Well, you would see it in, you know, all of the issues that we've kind of named so far, you know, team issues, relationship issues, emotional stress, depression, anxiety. You know, if someone's having huge success in their business, but, you know, struggles in their personal life, or, you know, has, you know, depression after they have a launch, or, you know, has an anxiety attack before a team meeting or a client call, it's not really success. You know, you might have money, but that's not actually holistic success. And so I'm always tracking for, where is this person out of alignment, and where are they overexpressed or underexpressed? And obviously there's like, I use this metaphor of like an optometrist, like with all the different lenses that they put down in front of their eyes. I've just got a lot of lenses that I look through when I'm tracking and kind of working with a person. So it's impossible to kind of speak to every single one of those lenses now, but one of the ways that I guess is a really simple and aligned to the nervous system that we were talking about way of tracking is, does this person have an open heart and a strong spine? Does this person, can they stand in the center of their body, in the center of their power, and be caring of themselves, caring of others, and able to make space for and hear other people's emotions and perspectives without feeling like it's an attack on them? You know, like we're seeing it all through the internet right now. People are taking things super personally. They're attacking others. They're feeling like they need to jump in and rescue, or, you know, insert their opinion where it's maybe not wanted or not asked for. We're seeing it all through the internet right now with a lot of the topical issues at play. And so I'm kind of looking for, I track for drama as the first telltale sign, where whenever someone is feeling like they've been victimized, or feeling like someone's trying to take something from them, or feeling like they need to defend themselves, or feeling like they need to rescue someone else. That's one of the key that's one of the key places, and that can show up anywhere in someone's life, you know.
Yeah, you've got a really powerful model, that the drama triangle that you've spoken of before, which you're speaking into now.
Yeah. I'm writing a book about it, finally.
Okay.
Brett's pinned me down and he's helping me write this book. It's I think it's going to end up being a series of books. But the, you know, the drama triangle obviously is a transactional analysis model, and I've just been developing it for a few years since then. And
it's very insightful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a useful model. It's very useful. And it's like the simplest way out of the drama is this. It's like, don't underestimate how powerful that is, that moment of coming back into your center and being with you, and just like consciously checking in. Hey, how is my heart right now? How is my spine right now? Am I feeling like I'm bending over backwards, or I'm being pushed off my center? Or am I being over caring with like, am I a bleeding heart here? Am I giving too much and out of fair exchange? Or am I locked up and I don't feel like I don't want to listen to what this other person has to say. It's like, oh, I'm all locked up and don't want to listen to this other person. Or am I just feeling really wounded and like, you know, nobody cares or nobody loves me? And if you're feeling any of those things, you're out of alignment. You're out of alignment. You're in the drama. It's like, it's as simple as that. And so for coaches to be able to just start tracking that in themselves is the first step, and start to kind of, you know, we know that from NLP, every model, every process that you learn is about applying to self first. And I think new coaches trip up in this spot. It's like, I've just learnt this thing and I'm going to quickly talk about it to someone else. I'm going to tell them all about it, but it hasn't actually passed through my lived experience. It hasn't actually really metabolized through my body and my life. And so that's cool. Like, people are enthusiastic and just want to like run with it and take ideas and go make a difference, and that's cool. What I find is more potent and more powerful is to, anytime you learn a new idea or a new concept, is to really self-reflect first and go, hey, how does this apply to me? How can I bring this wisdom or this insight that I'm learning today, or, you know, whatever aha moment I have, how can I apply that to my life first? And kind of do the work of looking in the mirror and notice, oh, that place where I'm getting reactive, or, you know, I feel triggered when I'm with my kids, or I feel triggered when I'm with my, you know, partner or with my clients or whatever. Okay. And tracking for it in yourself first, and then working through it in your own nervous system first, because this is the benefit of doing that. The more you can go to the depths within yourself, the more safe your clients feel to go to the depths with you. You can only, it's like law of the universe, you can only take a client as far as you've gone yourself. And that doesn't mean that you have to have done exactly the thing that they want to do, but in terms of inner work, in terms of self-awareness, in terms of illuminating the places in our unconscious where we are scared to go, that level of courage and capacity, you can only take your clients as far as you've gone yourself. And so, you know, the reason that great coaches are great coaches is because they do the work for themselves first and foremost, and then your clients will naturally feel safer to reveal things. You know, people say to me, I've never felt so safe as when I'm with you. And I've worked with thousands of, like, I've spent millions on coaching and, you know, and worked with some of the best in the world, and I've never felt as safe as I felt with you. And that's a testament to personal work. And I've faced a lot of my own demons. I'm sure there's plenty more to face, but yeah, it's like being willing to go to those places and feel those feelings that are fucking terrifying. You know, that's the work that creates a level of magnetism and safety that allows your clients to then go to places that they wouldn't otherwise feel safe to go to, because they know, oh, I have a guide here that can, you know, hold my hand through the darkness and, you know, walk me through this cave of dragons. You know, they know, they can feel it. And if you haven't done it, that's okay too, but your clients will only bring to you what they know that you can handle. So
be surface level.
It'll be surface level. And so if you're only getting surface level change with your clients, and you feel like, oh, there's something there, I can feel it, I know that there's something else there, but they're not bringing it to me, or they're not, you know, it's not coming up, there's places within you that you need to go to that next level. So, you know, and there's no right or wrong. Everyone's on their journey. I've just had a few more years in the game, and, you know, like you, Jeremy, it's like the more years you have in the game, the more runs you get on the board, and that's all it is. And so that, yeah, there's no right or wrong or better or worse. It's just we're all on the journey together. So
beautiful. Now you've created a number of programs. You've got the My Mind Coach, and you've got the Super Coach Academy.
Do.
Can you tell us a little bit about those containers and who they're
Yeah.
for, and what you're doing with those programs?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, so after being in Taki's program, the Black Belt program, and also being in a lot of training, like coach training programs, and also a lot of kind of spiritual retreat programs, I noticed that the business coaching world has a lot of offerings that are, mastermind, long-term community based. And the spiritual and the coaching world tends to have a lot of offerings that are start, stop. We're going to do this training, or we're going to have this retreat. And so a lot of people kind of all know each other just from social media. And there is a kind of sense of community. But I couldn't find a place that was a genuine, ongoing community that is about coaching skill mastery, and that is integrated with spiritual principles, and that holds space for the emotional inner work that it takes to really become a transformational leader. And so I made it. so I made one, and yeah, it's really exciting because it's one of those things that, a lot of people scoff at the coaching coaches to coach coaches thing, and I really resisted doing this for a long time because of that reason. I was like, oh, I don't want to be a coach that's coaching coaches to coach coaches. But I finally got over myself and realized that I was the perfect person to do it. And so, yeah, so I made this container, and we have now, two kind of phases or two levels of growth in the academy. And I've been super blessed to be able to call in some incredible colleagues, and I'm starting to really see the academy growing into being, like a university for those who are committed to mastery as coaches. And we really center around these three pillars of mission, magnetism, and mastery. So skill mastery, business mastery, personal magnetism, doing the inner work so that you can kind of shine as the leader that you are, and really connecting into your soul mission and what you're here to bring, which is so fucking much deeper and more profound than just find your avatar and, do a niche worksheet. It's, it's really connecting to who are you here to be in the world, and what are you here to bring. And so, yeah, so I've been able to develop this offering, and it includes my coach training and spiritual courses and all of the things. And yeah, we have this incredible faculty that we're developing, which I'm very pleased to say that you're going to be a part of very, very soon as well, which is super exciting. And so it's designed to be the place for ongoing supervision, coaching support. So each week, we have a group of coaches that come together, and we learn new skills. We practice different modalities, learn new techniques. I have, myself and my colleague May, we're both certified NLP trainers. We're running a spiritually integrated NLP training in UK time zone friendly and US time zone friendly, programs over the course of the year, and just have this ongoing support and mastery for coaches who are really stepping into their gifts and becoming transformational leaders. And the integration point is this kind of archetype, or this idea of the super coach. And the super coach, in my, I know sports people use the term super coach, but my definition of a super coach is a coach that has that level of integration in their own, spiritual, energetic, mental, emotional, physical body, and can coach to strategic outcomes, but can also coach to transformational outcomes, and work with someone's inner world as seamlessly and effortlessly as offering a strategy or, teaching a framework. And so that's really what, I'm really passionate about, raising the quality of coaching. I know there's a lot, like coaching has been a boom industry for a long time and exponentially growing. And I see that there's a lot of new people that are excited to enter the coaching industry, and that's awesome. And I want to, hold space, my faculty and I holding space for coaches to become more masterful. And, I really believe that if you are a professional coach and you are charging people money for your coaching, you are doing yourself and your clients a disservice if you are not getting trained, being supervised, and constantly learning and upskilling on the skill and the art of coaching. And I see a lot of people out there that don't have training, don't have skills, and do have some, intuitive magic, but it's like they're shooting themselves in the foot by just not getting that support to be the best coach that they can be. And so if I can, put a flag in the ground for coaching mastery, then that's what I'm all about, because the better coaches we have, the better we can change lives. And it's interesting, you said we're on this precipice of change, and I really believe that coaches are on a front line of human evolution. We are the people that are helping people to grow and expand and transform, and to go into those scary places and become their best selves. So there's no mistake that coaching is in an exponential growth trajectory. And, if we can help more coaches step into their power and become the transformational leaders that they're meant to be and that they've been born to be at this time, then we can make bigger change in the world, and we can, illuminate the way for more people. So
Beautiful.
That's what that's all about.
I love it. And so look, if any of the listeners, whether it's on the replay or live, how would they go about contacting you or finding out more about that?
Yeah, you can go to, we've got kind of two websites. We've got the mymindcoach.com.au, which is the kind of home place of all the things, where, we're offering both coaching, for private coaching for entrepreneurs, and coach training. So mymindcoach.com.au, you can find me on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. I have a free Facebook group called the Supercoach Society, where I drop in trainings and, tips and that type of thing. And there's some great conversations in there. Or you could just reach out to me on Messenger, or, talk to, I'll quickly handball it across to someone from my team. But, yeah, you can definitely come and watch some trainings, just soak up our free stuff and see if you vibe with it. And, if you're a coach that's committed to mastery and being the best, then chances are you'll love being in our community. And if you're an entrepreneur that, is committed to being your best self and being a change-making leader, then, myself or my team, I have a team of super coaches, so we can help. So that's, really exciting to be able to support people in that way.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Well, that hour went very, very quickly.
Bam,
and
it did.
Respectful of your time. That's been beautiful connecting like this, and hopefully at some future stage we'll
first of many.
Yeah, it'll be great to dive in further into this discussion. So absolutely. But thank you so much for joining us today. And again, any of our listeners, absolutely, reach out to Kylie or her team. She's absolutely magical, innovative, intuitive, incredible integrity, and just your field and the change that you're bringing through. It's beautiful. So I love your work, and it's been great to have you on today.
Appreciate you, Jeremy. Thank you. What a joy. Thanks, team, for listening in. I appreciate you. I didn't see any action in the chat, but if you have questions or comments, I can check it in the live in Jeremy's group as
in
well.
The Facebook group.
Yeah, you're welcome to reach out and say hey.
Awesome. All right, well, let's wrap that up.
Appreciate
Thanks, Kylie.
you.
All right,
we'll catch you soon. Bye.